Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Byte of Geek. Today we're going to be taking a look at 5 hacks, tips, whatever you want to call them, for Windows 10. Although a couple of these will probably work on Windows 8, but predominantly these are things in Windows 10 that you may not know about, may not be using. So I use a few of these in my day-to-day system, so I thought I'd share them with you. Okay, so the first item I'm going to take a look at is what's called virtual desktops. Now, this is something you know, if you've ever used Linux, you can get something like this in that operating system, and you can get it in Windows, previous versions of Windows, but you've had to use third-party tools to do something like this before. So obviously, you know, that adds additional overhead into your system, and you know, they've not always been a free piece of software. So Microsoft have built this straight into Windows 10 now, and what this gives you the ability to do is to have that separation out of your application. So you could have a desktop where you've got your photo editing, you could have a desktop where you've got your software development, and you could have a desktop where you've got your web browsing or something like that. So how do you get this working then? So it's really straightforward. All you do is you hold down the Windows key and press the Tab key, and you'll see there's an option in the bottom right hand corner that pops up, which is New Desktop. So you just click on the plus there, and as you can see, what you end up with is two little windows at the bottom of the screen. So you can click Next Desktop again, and you can have another desktop if you want. And so I've gone and added one in here, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to switch to my first desktop, and as you see, I'm going to load up Edge on this desktop. And to get to your other desktops, so normally if you've got applications and things like that running, then you'd use Alt and Tab, or using your mouse to switch between the different applications. But with the desktops, it's a little bit different. So what you've actually got on your taskbar over on the left hand side, if you've left that where it is, you've got Task View. So you can click on that option, and what that does is that brings up your 2 desktops, or how many you've got at the bottom of the screen, and you can switch between those desktops. So I'm going to go into my second one here, and I'm going to load up Movie Studio. So just wait for that to load, so you can just see this in action. So I've got Chrome and Movie Studio running on this at the moment. So I'm now going to switch back to my other desktop, and there you can see this is my original desktop. So I've got Edge running, I've got Chrome running, and I've got OBS Studio running, which is recording this session. And if I then switch back to my other desktop, there you go, there's Movie Studio and Chrome running. And that is the virtual desktops. So the next item on the list is the aptly named GodMode. If you haven't seen this before, this basically is a centralized folder for pretty much everything on your system that you'd need to tinker with, I guess. And the way that you get this enabled, you create a folder on your desktop, and you put this string of characters in. So you start off with GodMode, and then you've got this GUID that you put in. I'll put this string of text in the description down below, so you can just copy and paste it. Well, basically, you create that that folder, and there you go. It changes to basically something that looks like the control panel icon. You double click on it, and there you go. You've got everything that you might want to change on your system. Pretty much everything that you might want to change on your system all in one place. So that is GodMode. Okay, so item number 3 on this list is specifically if you've got plenty of cores on your system, and you know, by default, applications that run on your system, they will you know, spread the load across those cores, and you know, if you've got hyperthreading, then it will go across the different threads. However, you may want at some point in time to be able to go and actually have an application run on a specific set of cores, or just one core in particular. So you need to launch Task Manager in administrator mode, and what you do is you go to your application that you've got running, and you right click on it, you go to details, and there's an option there that's it's called Set Affinity. So you need to select that, and as you can see there, this application, Photoshop, it's running across all cores. Basically, you know, if I wanted to, I could now just untick all of those and just set it to run on what is labelled as CPU 4. Now that will stay in force whilst your system's running. However, so when you reboot your system, that will default back to using all of the cores for that application. Okay, so item number 4 on the list is something for Windows 10. And I think this actually came along in the anniversary update that Microsoft released quite recently. So, and this is being able to have a Bash shell running under Windows. It's one of the cool new features that they put out in that update. So what you need to do, you need to go into Windows settings, and then you go into Update and Security. And on the left hand side there's an option here called For Developers, so you need to click on that. And then there's one of the 3 radio buttons there is Developer Mode. Now I've already got this enabled on my system because I develop applications on my system which require me to have that set, but if you haven't got it enabled, you need to click on that, and more than likely it'll ask you to restart your Windows system to just to finish things off there. So, and then when you come back, you need to load up Control Panel, and you go into Programs, and you go into turn Windows features on or off. And when that loads up your list of Windows features, if you scroll down to the bottom of the list there, and you'll see there's a Windows subsystem for Linux in brackets beta. What you need to do, you need to tick that and click OK, and then you'll get a bit of an update here on your system, and then you need to reboot your PC again. So when that's rebooted, and this is the power of editing, is how quickly you can get your system back up and running again. What you'll find is you've actually then got an option on your start menu, which is just called Bash. So you click on that, and it opens up what looks like a command prompt with a question there. Do you want to install Ubuntu on Windows? So you click type in Y to continue, and it downloads it from the Windows Store. And when it's completed, well, it's just going to extract the files there onto your system, and then you just got to create a username. It doesn't have to be the same as your Windows name. So I'm just going to set mine up here. And when that's done, as you see here, I've put a little shortcut on my desktop for it. and here we go. I've got a shell prompt. Type in help, and there are your shell commands. So the final one in this list of 5, just a bit of a time saver. It means you don't have to go and keep on changing things all the time when you're installing stuff. But basically, if you come into Windows settings, you go to click on storage, and you scroll down to save locations, and you can specify where you want apps to be installed to. And there you go, your applications will be installed to that location. Okay guys, there's your 5 tips, hacks, whatever you want to call them, for Windows. Hope you enjoyed that. Leave some comments below, and I'll if you've got some questions, and I'll answer them as and when I can. If you like the video, can I get a thumbs up? Really appreciated. If you want to see more content like this, then subscribe to the channel, share it on your social media, and thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.